9 years ago today, Cleveland, this is for you, was uttered by LeBron James as he brought the Cleveland Cavaliers franchise their first championship in franchise history, the city of Cleveland's first championship in franchise, or in 52 years, I should say. And now, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who originally was drafted by, believe it or not, the Los Angeles Clippers, who then was traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder as a part of the deal that sent Paul George to the Los Angeles Clippers. And the Clippers, who the year before were an 8 seed, they battled in the first round for a playoff spot. Now they got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George in free agency. They thought it was going to mean that they were going to win a championship with Doc Rivers as their head coach. Then something globally took over this country we never thought would happen, which would be the COVID-19 pandemic. The NBA went into a bubble. The Los Angeles Clippers never recovered. They have never been to the NBA Finals since Kawhi Leonard was acquired by the Clippers. Paul George is now a member of the Philadelphia 76ers. And yet, here we are. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander led the NBA in scoring this year with nearly 33 points a game. He won the NBA regular season MVP. He's up 3-2 in the NBA Finals, where he's averaging close to 30 points and 10 assists a game. And even though Jalen Williams had an incredible game 5, putting up 40 points, it is projected that SGA will become the NBA Finals MVP. I predict that will happen tonight. And again, ladies and gentlemen, SGA will become the first guard since Michael Jeffrey Jordan to win NBA regular season MVP, the NBA Finals, the NBA Finals MVP, and lead the league in scoring in the same season. The Oklahoma City Thunder have won a combined 83, about to be 84 games between the regular season and the postseason. They have lost 20 games. This is the third best record in the history of the NBA, right behind the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors, who, of course, in the regular season went 73-9, won 15 postseason games. That puts their win total at 88. And of course, the 1995-1996 Chicago Bulls, who won 88 combined games as well, they did it with 72 regular season, the first round was only 5 games back then, so they did it with 72 regular season wins. Then they did 3 wins in the first round, that puts you at 75, 4 in the second, 79, 4 in the conference finals, 83, 4 in the finals at 87 wins. So we got 87 there to approximately 88 for the Golden State Warriors. This Thunder team, if you do 68 plus 16, they would be at 84. This team was the deepest team in the NBA this year. From SGA to Jalen Williams, now potentially emerging as a number 2, to Chet Holmgren once he grows his body right, emerging as potentially a number 2 or a number 3. You have guys like Lou Dort, glue guy, great defender, can come in and hit a 3. Even guys like Isaiah Hardenstein, another big man who rolls such great screens, plays good defense. A guy like Alex Caruso, a very tenacious defender who can also knock down a jump shot. Isaiah Joe, who can come in and knock down a 3. Now, this Indiana Pacer team made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. I thought it was a little bit of a fluke. The fact they got by the Knicks, it took them 7 games. Jalen Brunson was injured in Game 7. They did not have Julius Randle in that series. Josh Hart was injured. OG Anunoby was down. It was not the same New York Knicks team. This year, they come out, they start the year 10-15. Nobody takes the Indiana Pacers seriously, yet since January 1st, besides the Oklahoma City Thunder, the team with the best record in the NBA, and specifically in the Eastern Conference, is the Indiana Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton went on a magical run, hitting five game-winning shots this postseason, including one against the Bucks in Game 5 to send them in the second round. Obviously, Game 2 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. You had game one against the New York Knicks, and now game one, obviously, of this series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Indiana Pacers, as I mentioned, they took out Giannis Antetokounmpo in the first round. They took out Donovan Mitchell and the number one seeded Cleveland Cavaliers in round two. Then in the Eastern Conference Finals, they took out a Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns led New York Knicks team, and they were up 2-1 in this series in the NBA Finals. They were up by 7 going into the fourth quarter of Game 4 to take a 3-1 potential commanding lead in these NBA Finals, and everything just fell apart in Game 5. Tyrese Halliburton, who has had one of the most magical and will be remembered as one of the most sensational postseasons potentially in the history of the NBA, went down in game 5, reportedly with a calf strain, did not make a field goal, scored only 4 points. Most teams would have been blown out in that scenario, specifically by a great of a team as the Thunder are. But Pascal Siakam, Aaron Nesmith, TJ McConnell, for the most part, Obi Toppin a little bit, kept the Indiana Pacers within striking distance, and it was a 2-point game with about 8 minutes to go. OKC, though, would prevail by 11 points. Setting up tonight in Bankers Life Fieldhouse, the Indiana Pacers season, the magical run, the Cinderella, the very March Madness-esque run, looks like, in my opinion, it's going to be over. Tyrese Halliburton is a game time decision. I don't think it matters. I don't even care if he was 100%. My original prediction, if you know, in this series was I had the Thunder in 5 before the series started. I predicted they would go up 3-0. They'd essentially punt game 4. Indiana would blow them out for the opportunity to win in front of their hometown crowd. My prediction then switched to OKC in 6 after Indiana hit that game 1 shot. And I said, listen, I know Indiana won game 1. They still own court. The series has started, etc. But the Thunder were up by 15 points in game 1. They just did not close. At that point, I predicted Indiana to win game 3 and then OKC to win the next 3. If they do so tonight, I will be correct on that. And listen, again, I have respect for the Pacers. I think that they are a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I don't think they're a championship team. I don't think they've been a championship team all year long. I think that when you don't know who your best player is on any given night, you can't be a championship team in today's NBA. And I also think that, this run again with the made shots. I mean, they were down by 9 against Milwaukee with a minute left. They were down by 8 against Cleveland. They were down by 9 against the Knicks with a minute left, right? They were down by 15 going into the fourth quarter against Oklahoma City. Some of it has been just pure missed shots by the opponent that have been wide open shots or missed free throws at the free throw line to open up the door for the Pacers. So while they have been clutch doesn't mean a good team. And this Indiana Pacer team, listen, they will be remembered as the cardiac kids of Indiana, if you will, the team that will never give up. But they're a good story. We'll see what happens with Miles Turner. He's obviously their biggest free agent in the offseason. If I'm Indiana, I propose this because, again, I think this series is over. I think tonight will be a historic night for Oklahoma City. After the finals, you guys know what I always do is I will go in and I will rank the top 10 players in the NBA. Before the playoffs, I do the top 10 players in the playoffs. After the playoffs, I do top 10 players in all the NBA. And playoff performance obviously can raise or dip your stock depending on how well you played. I originally was going to put Tyrese Halliburton in my top 10. After game 5, I can no longer do that. Spoiler alert. But this year, I'm going to be trying something different over the summer, as obviously we're going to have no more games to talk about when it comes to, the NBA, the NFL until obviously September. Yes, there's baseball going on. You guys know I don't talk a ton of Major League Baseball on a daily basis. So one of the things I was going to do is I'm going to bring on four separate guests for the state of the NFL, the state of Major League Baseball, the state of college football, and the state of the NBA. And to help us sort of go through the state of the NBA, I'm going to be bringing on friend of the show, basketball aficionado Jalen Sandvik. We will be talking about Kevin Durant, but I bring this up because I have floated the idea out there, and I don't believe it has been taken very much by the media yet. But obviously, I think Durant could be traded. I think it could go down if the NBA Finals do win tonight. I think by Tuesday's show, we could have Kevin Durant potentially in another destination ahead of the NBA draft on Wednesday. But one of the things I'm going to float out there is, listen, Kevin Durant is not a number one anymore. He's a number two, but he is a go get a bucket guy. And so I actually think if you're the Indiana Pacers, right? We talked about, well, if OKC loses this series, do they go get Durant? I actually think if Indiana loses this series, I personally would trade Pascal Siakam for Kevin Durant straight up. As good as Siakam has been, he's not really a go get a bucket guy. He cannot create his own shot, and that's what Indiana needs. Indiana does need another consistent shot creator. I think you'd be able to keep most of your depth and them Ard and Neesmith, and obviously we'll see what happens with Miles Turner. But that's a move to get the Indiana Pacers back to finals contention. And again, no disrespect to the Pacers, but the Orlando Magic made a move for Desmond Bane the other day because they truly believe that they can be the Pacers of next year. And the Celtics, we know with the Jason Tatum injury, is not going to be as good. Nobody trusts Cleveland because they're not physical in the playoffs. We don't know what the Knicks are doing. It sounds like they're going to stay pat. So, does Indiana have a window here? Yes, I think it is less likely. Now, again, Oklahoma City had a historic season. I think a lot like Boston last year, they're not going to be as good next regular season. But for OKC, they're going to win this championship. And it's going to be determined in years whether this is going to be the start of a dynasty or whether it's like the Celtics championship from a year ago or the Nuggets championship from 2 years ago, where it's like, it's one great season, right? We don't know what's going on with Cooper Flag, Kyrie, and Anthony Davis in Dallas. LA still has LeBron and Luka. The Clippers do still have Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. Anthony Edwards is lurking. We don't know if Durant could go to a Houston or a San Antonio. So there's a lot of what if variables in the West. Obviously, OKC has the war chest of draft picks. They're young, they're youth, and all that. I said I think that this is one of the best seasons in the history of the NBA going into the playoffs, and the pressure was on them to win the championship. They were in my top three of teams under the most pressure to win the championship this year because I didn't care how young they were. I thought this was their best shot to do it. And yet, here they are. So, again, I presume tomorrow we're going to be doing a special show where we congratulate the Oklahoma City Thunder on winning the 2025 NBA championship. I think it would take a miracle if we get to a game seven, but I do not think the Pacers could win a game seven, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to dive into the offseason moves a lot more next week and the NBA draft and all that once the NBA finals conclude. So with that, I'm going to leave it here today. Thank you for listening to Brandon's World. We're in cooperation with the one, the only Voltage Live. A short show, just wanted to break down my thoughts on Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Thunder favored by 6.5. I would take OKC by that margin. I don't think it's a complete blowout. I think it's a 9-10 point victory, but I think we will see celebration as Oklahoma City wins their first championship in franchise history tonight. And with that, we'll see you next time right here on Brandon's World. I think history repeats itself. 9 years of the day of the Cleveland Cavaliers winning their first championship in franchise history. OKC does as well tonight. Like that clip from the Brandon's World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brandon's World podcast right here on YouTube.